Hello and welcome to Local Gaming. I'm Zach. Today I'm going to play Undaunted Normandy, but I'm going to play the solo mode that was introduced in the Undaunted Reinforcements box. So Undaunted Normandy is essentially a deck building game. It has, war game like elements where it's for the Undaunted Normandy box, it's U.S. forces against German forces, but ultimately it's a deck building game with some moving parts on the board. It's a great two-player game, and the solo mode was introduced, like I said, in an expansion called Reinforcements. And it is a little bit to get your head wrapped around, but I think after you play it some, it might come a little more intuitively. Now I'm just saying that because I've only played it through the solo rules one time. So this is gonna kind of be like a learning game for me too. And if you have experience with this and you're watching this and I do something wrong, please do leave me comments down below on what I'm doing wrong, because I'd like to know and to get the rules correct if I'm going to play it again in the future on the channel or just even not on the channel. So with the solo rules, you can set up any scenario. I have set up the very first scenario, scenario 1 from Undaunted Normandy, Lorraine. There's a little bit of history here. So the 30th Infantry Division's first action was on the morning of the 15th of June, which is 9 days after D-Day. While over half the division was still afloat or moving through the assembly areas on Omaha Beach, an initial attack was made by an improvised combat team. Difficult opposition was encountered as soon as the leading squads crept past a railway track leading east from Carentan. By mid-afternoon, the U.S. forces had worked their way through intermittent artillery fire and swung to the southeast to threaten German forces grouped around houses in the hamlet of Lorraine. So this is a pretty even force, and it's very basic units that are in this first scenario. The units you're going to see in this game are not all of the units that come in the box. There's also snipers and machine gunners, and a couple other ones I'm probably forgetting. I think there's mortar teams, maybe. Yeah, maybe mortar teams. Oh, they're all right here. Machine gunners, mortar, sniper. There's a platoon guide, and there's another squad in each for each unit, or for each side, I mean. So you set up for the solo game. You set up your side. I'm going to be playing as the U.S., just like you would in a multiplayer game, in a two-player game, where in my deck, I get these cards that are for the squads. Then you get a platoon sergeant and 2 fogs of war. When I play my cards, I'll go over what they do. But it's important to note that we have cards that are in Squad A and cards that are in Squad B, and then we have a platoon sergeant who is not like in either of the 2 squads, A or B. And then fog of war cards, like any deck building game, there's just kind of cards that fill up your hand with basically nothing. So I have to build my deck and then shuffle it. Did that just go upside down? It did. All right. And then this is my recruitment area. This is where I can recruit stuff from. You don't want fog of war cards, and we'll see how those get put into our deck. But we can get more of the riflemen and more of the scouts from either A squad or B squad in our recruitment area, and we will see how those get recruited. All right, so that's my deck. The way that the AI gets built in the solo game, you go by what's in the scenario, what it says to give them in the scenario, which for this introductory scenario, the 2 sides are the same as far as what goes into their decks. So they also have the A squad, the B squad, the platoon sergeant, and 2 fog of war cards. So we shuffle up their deck as well. Let's pile shuffle real quick just to make sure everything's getting spread around. But then a little bit different for their recruitment area. You make 2 separate bolster decks, and the bolster decks get filled in with the other cards that the setup said would go into their recruitment zone. but they get separated into different piles. So there's an A and a B. So we put all of the A squad people in one, and then we shuffle it. Because when he recruits, he's going to recruit the bot, the AI player. The AI player is going to recruit blindly from either the A deck or the B deck, depending upon what instructions we get from the AI cards. And I've got this little B token here just to mark that this is the B deck that we will be, when we're told to, it's called bolstering. When we're told to bolster from the B deck, we take from this one, A from this one. So a look at the map real quick. There are individual sections on the map, little tiles. The tiles, they can have an armor rating on them. That gives a little bit of defense points to a unit that's in that area. And they also can have objective points in them. So this tile's worth 2 if you control it. Worth 1, 1, 2, 1, and 2. Each of the, I shouldn't say each, so some of the units in the deck have tokens on the board. So the A squad rifleman, the A squad scout, the B squad scout, and the B squad rifleman. So each of these are only going to have 1 token on the board, but they could have multiple cards in the deck. If we ever run out of cards for them, they've all been taken out of the game, then their token comes off of the map. No, I should say it. I think if there's none in our, there can still be cards in the supply, but if there's like none of the A rifleman cards either in our deck, our hand, or our discard pile, then it comes off of the map. If we bolster and get another rifleman A into our deck and it comes up, then it can come back out onto the map. Same with the scouts. These little markers here, these just mean that if we ever have to bring a unit out onto the board, all units for the German player would get spawned in this tile. All units for the American player would get spawned in this tile. Sometimes they can be, the scenario will tell you anybody from squad A spawns maybe here, anybody from squad B spawns maybe here. And this is not going to be the map for every scenario. They're all different. If you just like take a flip through the book real quick. So that's the second scenario is a different map. Third scenario is a different map. Fourth scenario is even a bigger map, and so on. Now these right here, these are scouted markers. That means that we have scouted that tile, and our riflemen can move into those tiles. Scouts don't have to have a scouted marker to move into a tile. They are actually the ones who are going to go out and put the scouted markers out. And then this right here is control. So this means that the German player controls this tile, and you have to control the tile to get those victory points or those objective points. So in this scenario, the German player starts with 2, and that's one difference from the multiplayer game. In the multiplayer game, this tile was worth 3, but in the solo setup book, wherever it is, here it is. The solo book will give you a little bit of instructions on what to do differently when you're playing solo against the AI. It says replace the 3-point objective marker in tile 5B with a 2-point objective marker. It tells you how to build their decks, and then it also tells you which units of mine the bot's going to consider more dangerous than others. And it's riflemen from riflemen over scouts and squad A over squad B. If there's ever a time where we need to pick a priority on who it would go after. We will go over, in the solo game, there are these cards that tell you what the AI will do. And they could be different for the type of unit depending upon which scenario you're playing. So this is the squad leader card. So the green screen's not going to like the American side, but you use this for squad leaders with scenarios 1 through 12 in the Heroes of Normandy box. Because the solo stuff that comes in the Undaunted Reinforcements box will work with Normandy, it will work with Undaunted North Africa, And there's also more scenarios and more units actually in the reinforcements box itself. All right, so our objective, the way that we win, either side wins, is whoever gets to 5 points. Or if both sides are what's called pinned, meaning there's no riflemen on the board, then we would see who has the most objective points. All right, I think that's it for the setup, and we will just start. So, my turn, and I'm just going to do this again. All right, I'm going to draw 4 cards. So the first thing I'm going to do, in this scenario, the US starts with the initiative. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at what I got into my hand. And I need to pick one of these cards to play for this number up in the corner as my initiative. So I have a Fog of War card, which is just taking up a spot in my hand, which is a 1. So that's like the lowest, slowest initiative. I have a Scout A card, and I have a Rifleman Squad A and a Rifleman Squad B. So I know that I can only move and Riflemen are the ones that can control tiles to get you objective points. Scouts cannot do that. So I know that I need to move my Riflemen out to take over some of these control points. But I can only move my Riflemen on places that have been scouted. So I also know that I need my Scouts to go out and actually scout. So I probably want to keep my Scout to maybe scout some more tiles for me. Which means I have a Rifleman Squad B and a Rifleman Squad A card to choose from for initiative. And we'll just have everybody from Squad A do stuff. So I'm just picking this card for this initiative number 5, and I'm going to keep the rest of these cards in my hand. Now let's just do this one more real quick for the German player. Now for against the AI, to see what the initiative he's going to have is we just take the top card from the deck and see what it is. So he pulled a 7. So if he wins the initiative, we're going to flip this over. I'm losing the initiative. My card gets discarded. And this card is going to go down into his play area. This only goes down into his play area if he wins the initiative. And if he had lost the initiative, his initiative card would get discarded and my initiative card would get discarded. So there's a little bit of difference how this works with the solo game versus the multiplayer game. In the multiplayer game, you both just discard your initiative cards. But for the bot, for the AI, if he wins initiative, he gets to keep his card. Now there is a way if you want to make the game easier where this card can get discarded, but I'm going to play on standard and I'll just have it go there. Okay, so for the bot's turn, the bot draws 3 cards, and it's important you keep them in order, and I'll show you why in just a second. Now we're going to look at them. All right, so now we reorder them in initiative order. So the platoon sergeant is a 9, so he's before the 7, and then the scout is a 6, and the rifleman is a 5. The reason you want to keep them in order from how they came off of the deck is if we had a tie, like if we had 2 riflemen, they were both 5s, they stay in the same order they came out of the deck. But these are all different numbers, so we don't have to worry too much about it. All right, so now we just go from left to right, doing what the cards say to do. It's a little bit different in the multiplayer game. In the multiplayer game, all this stuff on the bottom of the card would be used by the other player, but when the bot is going, we don't worry about the stuff on the bottom of these cards. We just go by what these cards say. So this is the platoon sergeant card for scenarios 1 and 3 for if the bot is the German player. So this actually says we have to roll to see what he's going to do. So we roll, and I got a 9. So on a 5 through 10, it says command 2. So what command does is we pull more cards from the deck. So if I used command, I would draw cards into my hand. But we will read. Yeah, Yeah, we draw cards and then we put it in line with the numbers. So it was command 2, so that means we draw 2 cards. So we draw a card. It's a Fog of War, and so we keep it in numerical order. That goes there. Then we drew another squad leader, and the ones that come out on a command go to the right of one that's the same number. And that's the platoon sergeant card done. So that's going to get discarded over there. The next card is the squad leader from squad A. We find the squad leader card. The squad leader card, first scenario is 1 through 12 for Germans. So we go down this list. So it says matching cards in the play area. Inspire the next 2 matching cards in your play area. So what matching cards are is you look to see, hey, is there somebody from that guy's squad out here in the play area? This squad leader is from squad A. Yes, we have a rifleman from A right here. So what inspire means is we turn this card sideways because he's giving this card an extra action this turn by inspiring him. So we turn it this way to know that, hey, we have 2 actions with this card when it comes to that card. If there had been a second person from squad A here, then we would also be able to inspire that person, but there's only one. So that's this squad leader done. All right, we have now a squad leader from squad B. So we do the same thing. We inspire someone from his squad. We've got a scout from squad B. We can inspire that guy. So that's that squad leader done. Now we get to one of the more complicated cards. We got a scout, and this card is only used for scenario 1 for the Germans. We also have to make a note here. It says when scout moves onto an unscouted tile, scout it. So the first line says, is there a fog of war in the bot's play area? And then you would recon. You know what? Hey, there is a fog of war here. So we recon. What recon means when you're playing the multiplayer game, or for us, you take the fog of war, put it out of the game, and you get to draw a card. It's sort of similar for the bot. The bot is we take the fog of war card and we get it out of the game. So that's like trashing it for Dominion, or culling it, getting out of your deck. But instead of drawing a card into his hand, the AI player is going to draw a card face down, and he's going to get to use that next turn, not this turn. Okay, the Inspired Scout has taken an action, so he's going to move back this way, and he gets to go again. There is not another Fog of War in play. So then we get to some terminology. So here it's asking a question for the second line. Is the tile that the Scout B is in, is it secure? So Scout B is right here. Secure, I have to read it to you. Most of the time, the tile that they're in is going to be secure because it's at least one of the following is true. The bot does not control the tile. He does control this tile, so that one's actually not true. And only one of these has to be true. The bot has other combat counters on the tile. He does have other combat counters there, so it's secure. The other one is you have no units. You have no units with the control action on the tile. So what it's really looking at there is, does it make logical sense that the scout can move out of this area? Yes, it can. There's other stuff there. And me as the player, I don't have anything there that can take the tile over from him. So it seems fine for the scout to move away. Okay, so the tile is secure. So now we have to select a destination within 2 tiles. The first thing he's going to want to do is to select a threatened objective. That's more terminology. A threatened objective basically is, am I about to take over one of the tiles that the AI already controls? If I am, then he's going to want to rush units there to probably attack me. But I'm not about to take over one of his tiles. Select an unscouted and uncontrolled objective as its destination. And remember again, this was select a destination within 2 tiles. So we have to look from our Scout B. There's an objective here that's within 2, and an objective here that's within 2. All right. So which one is it going to pick? Well, if you look here, it's going to pick one that's a higher value, and then if they're still tied, it'll pick one that has the highest cover, and then after that it's probably random. Maybe they know when they made this scenario that it wouldn't be possible for there to be ties still with that one, but it's going to pick values. So this one is worth 2 points, that one's worth 1 point. It's going to prioritize this tile. Then we have picked our destination. We move to the destination, and when it's moving, it's going to select the tiles to move through. It's first going to go through scouted, then enemy occupied, then enemy scouted, then ones that are closer to enemy riflemen, then there's ones that have cover, and then random. And it makes sense that it wants to go through scouted ones first, and here's why. So it wants to get here, right? That's its destination. And like I said, this takes a little bit to get your head wrapped around, but after you kind of figure it out, it kind of makes sense, because if you think about this, this is its destination. It's a higher point objective than that one. It makes sense. Hey, let's go out there and scout it so that our riflemen can go out there and take it over. And the way that it's going to move, it's first going to prioritize through a scouted tile to get there. So we're on the Scout B card. It's going to go 1, 2. And when a scout moves into an unscouted place, it scouts it. What does scouting it do? Scouting it adds a Fog of War card to the deck. Or you'd put it in the discard pile, but it will eventually get shuffled into the deck. Which is why it prioritized going through a scouted tile first. Because if it had gone this way and then this way, it would have gotten 2 Fog of War cards in its deck for probably no good reason, because this is not an objective spot, right? So that kind of makes sense. Scout done with his turn. Now we get Rifleman A, so we got to see the Rifleman card. The first thing a Rifleman in here is going to want to do, it's going to want to control. What that means is if it's in a space where that's already scouted and it doesn't already have control like it does here, it'll take control of the space. But the space it is in, this is Rifleman A, it's already controlled by the AI player. The second thing it's going to look at is going to say, hey, am I on a tile that's controlled by either me or the other player? And is there an enemy there? If there is, okay, I'll attack it. Then we get to, which isn't true for us, there's no enemy in that space. Then we get to here again, is the tile secure? We know it's secure, there's other guys there, so it's fine. Now it's going to want to select a destination within one tile that is already scouted. And it's going to look again is, hey, am I next to a space that's about to get taken away from me? I should probably go there first. But it's not. Then it's going to select an uncontrolled objective as a destination. Well, there are no uncontrolled objectives within one tile. So then the third one says, select a destination that's closest to one of the two things above and prioritize A over B. Which kind of makes sense. Like, if there's nothing in one tile away, then find one that's one of these two things that it makes sense to move towards. That's whatever is the closest. So the closest of these is an uncontrolled objective, which is going to be this one here. It does only get to move one tile. So it will move one towards that objective. It's on its way towards getting more points. Now this got inspired, remember? So that was its first action. Then it gets turned and it gets to go again. So now we go down this list again. Control. Is it in a space with a scouted marker that's not already controlled? It is. So this is actually just going to get flipped over. You can control spaces that are not objective spaces. It doesn't really do anything, but that's what the card says. It says to control. I'm almost positive you can control places that are not objective places. I don't see why not. And that's its action. All right, that was a lot of talking to get through one turn. We won't be spending that much time on all the turns. This is the face down card that I got from getting the Fog of War out. Now it's our turn. So on our turn, we actually have some choices. We get to look at our cards. And well, Fog of War is not going to do anything for us, but we might just get rid of the Fog of War, or do we move? So here's the things that we can do. So with our riflemen, instead of like having to go through the flow chart of what our guys are going to do, we get to pick. So we can either pick to move one space, attack with one die, or we can control, which is the same thing, you know, flip a scouted marker over to controlled. Our scouts can scout 2 spaces, attack with 1 die. We can recon, or we can conceal. Recon is the getting rid of the Fog of War card and drawing another card. And conceal is actually putting Fog of War cards into your opponent's deck, which is kind of fun. I think let's be a little hairy, and we will play our scout card into our play area. It's a scout from squad A, so our scout from squad A is going to go 1, 2, and we get to scout both of those places. So both teams have scouted this spot, and we get to scout this place. Now we put two scout markers out, so we have to put 2 Fog of War cards into our discard pile. And now our Rifleman A, I'm going to move Rifleman A into this spot. Move 1. And that's our turn. We both have gone, so we're going to go back to initiative. 1, 2, 3, 4 cards for us. And we have to pick our initiative card. So we got one of our squad leaders. We got a Fog of War card. We got another scout card, the Scout B. Okay, we got our 2 squad leaders. We did not get... Oh, we only have 1 rifleman card, though. I want to get more cards into our deck, so I want to keep our 2 squad leader cards in our hand to play. So I'm going to put the scout card with the 6 out for our initiative. And then we're going to see what they get for their initiative. They get Fog of War, 1. So they lose the initiative. That means we get to go first. We lose, this card gets discarded. And now we get to do stuff. Fog of War is nothing, so we can play that down. Now, squad leaders, they have bolster 2. So what this means is I can get 2 cards from squad A if I take that action, or I can inspire somebody. I can inspire 1 person from squad A. Inspire is kind of the same thing as what the AI gets. It means we get to go again with one of our cards, but we don't have anybody from squad A to inspire, so we're going to do the bolster action. So we're going to bolster 2 cards from squad A. I'm going to take 2 riflemen. I want to get these into my deck so that I can use them to take over objective points. Then I'm going to play my squad leader from squad B. And for squad B, I'll take 1 rifleman and 1 scout into my discard pile. And that is it for my turn. Okay, so we have to remember that he has this face down card, and we're going to draw him 3 cards in addition to this one. So that's 1, and then we have to shuffle. Two, 3. All right, so we put them in numerical order. Squad leader, the squad leader. Is there a matching card? Yes, he's going to inspire it. So it's going to get to go again. That's the squad leader done. Scout A. And then the scout, remember the first action on the scout card is there a fog of war in the bot's play area? Recon. Yes, there is. So he's going to recon that away. He's going to throw it away, and he's going to get a face down card for next time. That's the scout's turn done. Okay, Rifleman B right here. First one again was control. He already controls it. The second one, does either side control it? Is there an enemy in your tile? No, there's not, so we're not going to attack. Is the tile secure? There's other people here. So yes, the tile is secure. Within one tile, is there a threatened tile? Am I about to lose an objective tile within one tile of me? No. Is there an uncontrolled objective within one tile of me? No. So then I'm going to select a destination closest, just like Rifleman A did. Well, now I think that oh, he can't go this way because those aren't scouted. Those are not scouted areas, so he has to go this way. So if the control marker is there, that's also scouted. Your rifleman can move there. The scout's on the other side, so you can move into controlled or scouted areas. So that's the rifleman's first turn because he was inspired by his squad leader. So now he's going to get to go again. He does not need to control here. There's not an enemy there for him to attack. One of his objectives is not threatened. Now select an uncontrolled objective as a destination. There is an uncontrolled objective here within one tile. So this Rifleman B is going to move into this tile. And now we've got a little bit of a situation developing around here. And that's the end of his turn. That's the end of the round again, so we're going to go back to initiative. I only have one card left in my deck, so now I got to shuffle just like any deck building game. And we're going to look for what card we want to use for initiative. I really want a Rifleman A card that I can use to take over that spot. And we did not. Well, okay, so we got our platoon sergeant card. That was the last card in the deck. Yeah, we haven't seen this card yet. So our platoon sergeant, he can either bolster 3, which means he can hire 3 cards from anywhere over there. Or he can command 2, which means we can draw 2 cards from our deck. It's just like a deck builder. You know, you have resources to buy stuff over here. This is a draw command, basically, or a draw action, basically, to draw cards from there. So I really want to get a Rifleman A card, and I want to try to go as early as I can to go before him to take this over. There's a slight rules difference when reinforcements came out. They changed a rule where before you could not take control of a tile if there were enemy units in the tile. But now you can take control of a tile if there's enemy units there, as long as the enemy, you can use the control action, I should say, as long as the enemy doesn't control it, right? If your opponent controls that tile and has a unit there, you cannot take control of the tile. Before, you couldn't do control if there were enemy units there. So that's what it says here. This means you may take control of a tile where your opponent has a unit, but only if they do not already control the tile. Slight little nuance difference between the previous version, and they made a slight rule change. So that this rule is going to be different than if you just look in the Undaunted Normandy rulebook. Okay, so all of that to say, and I hate to do this, but I really want to go early, so I'm going to use my squad leader for the 7 initiative. I'm not going to do 2 Fogs of War in my hand is kind of garbage. But let's see what the bot player gets. He got a 6, but so we still win. This gets discarded. So we are going to play our platoon sergeant for the command 2 to draw us 2 cards. We got the A squad leader, and we got another fog of war. Well, so the only thing we really can do with our squad leader is to bolster 2 from the A squad. Let's take a rifleman and a scout, I guess. No, we'll take both of the rifleman cards. 3 fogs of war. Terrible. So I hope that doesn't lose us the tile. So we're going to draw his 3 cards. Oops. 1, 2, 3. Let's see. 9, 7, 5, and 1. So his platoon sergeant is first. This is the one with a roll. Okay, we got a 10, so command 2. So he wants to draw 2 cards from his deck, which means I got to shuffle his deck. He doesn't have very many cards in his deck. He's got a very efficient deck right now. All right, so this is a scout. 6 goes right here. And 7 is going to go after the other 7. And that's his platoon sergeant done. All right, so we've seen the squad leader before. Are there any cards from his squad? He's squad A. Yes, there are 2 cards from his squad. And he can inspire the next 2 matching cards. So he's going to get to do a lot of stuff this turn, which is unfortunate. And that's squad leader A done. Squad leader squad B. Matching cards in the play area. No, there are no squad B cards in the play area. So I don't think we've seen this yet. So if line 1 doesn't do anything, then we go to line 2. Bolster matching squad, bolster matching squad. So he's going to bolster his squad twice, which means that we draw 2 cards from his B squad deck and put them into his discard pile. That's him done. Scout A is going to get a couple of turns. Is there a fog of war card? Well, yes, there is. So he's going to recon that out of the game and draw a card for next turn. That's his first go. Then his second go. Is his tile secure? This would probably be the last line of the secure definition. Yeah. I don't have any units there that can do the control action, which means I don't have any riflemen in there with him. So yeah, his tile is secure. This secure definition was one of the hardest things for me to try to work through last time when I was playing the game, the solo game. Just have the 3 little conditions next to you and just run through them. You'll kind of get it. Is his tile secure? Yes. Okay, so then he's going to look within 2 tiles. Is there a threatened objective? Is there an objective he controls that I am about to take over? No. Is there an unscouted and uncontrolled objective within 2? This one's already been scouted. This one has not been scouted. So, okay, he can go to that one. So then he's going to move there. He is going to move through scouted places first. There is not a scouted place yet. Then he's going to go through enemy occupied, which there's not. Enemy scouted, there's not. Closer to enemy riflemen is this one. So the list I'm going through here is this list down here. It's like, what is his priority of how he's going to move there? So you just have to walk through them. And I got to the one that's, he's going to want to walk through a tile that's closest to enemy riflemen. I've got riflemen here. This tile's closest, so he's going to go 1, 2. He's going to scout both of those on the way. Scouted, which adds 2 fog of war cards to his deck. So now we're clogging up his deck. That is the scout done. All right, and unfortunately, Rifleman A gets 2 actions here, and I say unfortunately because that means he's going to take over this tile, right? That tile's already controlled. There's nobody here for him to attack. His tile, so now we go to 3. His tile is secure, so he's going to select something within 1 tile from him. The first one again is threatened, and threatened means I'm about to take one that he already controls away from him, which is not true. But we get to this next, the second one here, B. Select an uncontrolled objective as his destination. And if there were ties, we would go through that list, but there are not ties. Within 1 tile of him, there's only 1 tile that is not yet controlled by anybody. That's an objective tile. So he's going to move there. You can kind of see how this AI is making sense. Like a player's going to move his units. He's going to scout in front of his riflemen so his riflemen can get to the objective places. His riflemen are going to move towards the objectives. They're going to fight when they need to fight. They're going to try to rescue objectives that they already control if they're being threatened by the player. It looks pretty well designed so far. And now, I said unfortunately because he got inspired, so that was his first action. Now he gets to go again. And the first line on a rifleman card is control. So they take control. And now there is no way, I shouldn't say no way. Well, that's the end of his turn. It's harder for me now to take this over. He's got 3 guys there, and I can't use a control action when he controls it and has guys there. Right? I'm pretty sure that's what that means. Yeah, I can't take control of it is what it says. Where is that rule change? Take control of the tile that the unit's combat counter is on by flipping the control marker to its controlled site. If your opponent controls that tile, flip the control marker over. If your opponent controls that tile and has a unit there, you cannot take control of it. Does that mean I can flip it? That's a good question. Because if they have control, if I did the control action, I don't get to flip this over. What you're first supposed to do is flip this back over to scouted. But I don't think I can do it because he has units there. Okay, both of us have gone this round, so now we go back to getting initiative. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is not looking good for me. He's already scouted that one. He's got 2 here. He's got 2 there. I mean, I guess if I could scout over here and get my rifleman over there quick, I could take that one. What did I get? Fog of War, Scout B, and Rifleman B, and Rifleman A. Well, I should probably run up here to try to take that before he moves towards it. Which means my 2 units here are closer. Which means that Rifleman A is not going to be useful. We haven't even done combat yet, right? So I guess I'll take Rifleman A for my initiative card. And he's going to bring Scout. So he's going to win initiative and go first. Not good for me. I've also played this solo 2-handed. So, you know, playing it normal, like without the AI, just playing both sides by myself, and that's pretty fun too. Okay, so he has the 1 from the recon that he did, 1 from winning the initiative, and he's going to get to draw 3. I took too many. None of them tie anyways, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, Platoon Sergeant is a roll. We rolled a 4, so he's going to bolster 1 card from A into his discard and 1 card from B into his discard. That's the Platoon Sergeant done. Squad Leader B. So we know Squad Leader B is going to inspire 2 cards from his same squad, and that's the Squad Leader done. Scout B. Is there a Fog of War card? Yes, there is. He's going to recon that away and draw a card for next time. Now, Scout B. Is this secure? Yes, he's got other people there. Is there a threatened objective about to get taken away? No. Unscouted, uncontrolled objective within 2 is going to prioritize value over cover. So probably this one because it has the highest value. It's an uncontrolled and unscouted by his side. He's going to move there, and he's going to move through already scouted, which isn't. He's going to move through enemy occupied. So Scout B, he's going to move through enemy occupied to his destination, and then both of those get scouted, and then he gets 2 Fog of War cards into his discard pile. Okay, that's Scout B done. Rifleman B. Control, it's already controlled. All right, so now here we've got a little bit of a new thing. Tile is controlled by either side and enemy occupied. What do you know? It's controlled and enemy occupied. So now we're going to get an attack. It's an attack 1, which means he's going to get 1 die. So the way attacks work is you look at who the defender is. He's shooting this rifleman here. It has a defense value of 4. The terrain adds a defense value of 1, so that's a 5. He needs to roll a 5 or higher. And he rolled a 7. Okay, so now we need to look at the priority of when you get hit, of how cards get taken away from you. So the first thing we do is you look at the unit that was attacked. It's Rifleman A. You look in your hand first. Do I have any Rifleman A cards in my hand? No. Then I look in my discard pile. Do I have any Rifleman A cards in my discard pile? Yes, I do. So this Rifleman A card is now out of the game. And this is where, if there had not been any Rifleman A cards in my discard pile, I would look through my deck to see if I had any in here, and then I shuffle it again because I'm not supposed to know what the order is. If I did not have a Rifleman A card in my hand, my discard pile, or my deck, then my Rifleman A token comes off of the map. And it doesn't go back out until I get a Rifleman A card to play. And if I didn't have any more Rifleman A cards after that, the Rifleman A token would just never go back out. That was his first action. Then his second action is going to be the same thing. It's still controlled. I'm still in the space. He's going to attack again on a 5+. He rolls a 10. We know there's none in my hand, so we go through the discard pile. We've got another Rifleman A card here. Out of the game. And that's his turn. So now it's our turn. If I want 5 points, and there's 4 along this edge over here, there's another 1 up there. Right now his riflemen are kind of tied up shooting my riflemen, which is kind of bad because he could take my rifleman out of the game. I'm kind of wondering if I want to chance. Do I get this Fog of War out, or do I scout somewhere? I'm gonna use this guy to recon, which is gonna. Well, first I have to play the Fog of War card. Then I recon, which gets this Fog of War out of my deck and out of the game. But then I get to draw a card, and I'm hoping that I get another Rifleman card here. Yes, I got a Rifleman B card. Okay, so I'm going to play Rifleman B as a move to move here. Then I'm going to play my next Rifleman B card as a control to take control. So now I have 1 victory point. That was a little risky. But what I'm thinking is I'm going to send this Rifleman along with the scout from Squad A down this way to take these. And maybe get Scout B to go over here and then pull this Rifleman back to take that one for my 5 points. We'll see if it works out. Okay, next round, 1, 2, 3, 4. We got to pick an initiative card. So we have Rifleman A and Scout B. So we could start that maneuvering. We do not have another Rifleman B card. I think right now we might only have 1, or maybe we have 2 Rifleman B cards in our deck. Rifleman A and Scout B. I mean, I could use Rifleman A, I guess. Maybe I go Rifleman A this way and move Rifleman B back that way later. I'm going to use Scout A for our initiative. Okay, this is kind of a bummer because it's a tie. It stays with the person who had the initiative, which I think means he wins. And so then he's going to get to go first. That's kind of a bummer. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so here's where order matters because we have 2 that have 6s, so they have to stay in the same order. That one's a 5, and this is a 7. Man, he's been getting so many squad leaders at the right time, right when he needs them. So squad leader A, we know from his previous times that he's going to inspire. There's only 1 person from his squad, though, so he's going to inspire that scout. All right, the scout is going to recon because there's Fog of War. Yep, he's going to recon. So he's going to take the Fog of War out, and he's going to bring a card in for next turn. Then the next thing he's going to do is a good question. Is his tile secure? Yes, I don't have any people there that have the control ability. Within 2, is there a threatened objective? This one might be threatened, actually, because I have a unit with the control ability there. Let's go through the 3 things for threatened. The bot controls the tile, yes. The bot has no combat counters on the tile. Oh, no, it does have combat counters. So, okay, there's no threatened. Unscouted and uncontrolled objective. They have all been either scouted or controlled, because this one is now controlled. 6A is unscouted. It is actually scouted. Is there an enemy on the same tile? No. He would attack if there was. So we get down to the bottom. The last thing is we roll a die. Where's the die? I rolled a 6, so on a 1 through 6, it's conceal. And I think I said it earlier, conceal, you add a Fog of War to your enemy's deck, so he's going to add a Fog of War to my deck. Thanks a lot, partner. So that's the scout done. Now scout, I was looking at the total wrong scout. It should have been this scout. I don't think it changes anything though. Because 6A is already scouted, yeah. No threatened objectives. There's no unscouted and uncontrolled objectives. What that doesn't... Oh, I think uncontrolled means by the bot. Yeah, so what I was just thinking is what he needs to scout there if he's ever going to want to go there. Doesn't make too much of a difference. I screwed it up a little bit. This guy would have scouted there. Through those spaces. And now this guy would have rolled to conceal, and then I would have got the Fog of War from him. So not that big of a difference. Because it was within 2, and it wasn't controlled by him, and it wasn't scouted by him. Yeah, I think I screwed that up. Okay, Rifleman from Squad B. They already have control. It's controlled, and there's an enemy there, so he's going to attack. It's 4 plus 1 is 5. He needs 5 or higher. He rolled an 8. So I first look in my hand. Yes, I have a Rifleman A card that's out of the game. That is a bummer. I think I only have 1 Rifleman A card left, or 2 maybe. Okay, that's his turn. And it's even a bigger bummer because we lose that card from our hand, then we don't get to play it. Scout B is going to go here and scout, which gives us a Fog of War card. And then Rifleman A is going to move to here. I mean, maybe I should be shooting, but for this mission, I feel like it's kind of just a race to get objective points. Although the AI is kind of kicking my butt in getting my Rifleman A cards out of the deck. Okay, that was my last card, so I have to shuffle before we go to the next round. He only needs 1 point, and I still need 4. I mean, I guess I could have scouted 2 spaces with that scout, but that's far for Rifleman B to go, and I do not have very many Rifleman B cards in my deck right now. One, two, three, 4. We got a ton of scout cards. We did get a squad leader card here. We're going to use this 6 for our initiative because we have another one of those in our deck. He needs to shuffle. And the top card for initiative is squad leader. It's always bad when he wins initiative. That gives him another card. 1, 2, 3. Oh, geez. All right, platoon sergeant's gonna roll. Rolls a 10. So command 2 is even more cards. Uh-oh. Oh, that's the platoon sergeant done. So he's going to draw 2 cards. Rifleman B goes after this one. It's a 5. And then a scout. Squad leader is going to inspire 2. So this guy and this guy. Squad leader is also going to inspire 2, but there's only 1. Look at all these actions he's getting. Bot's kicking my butt. All right, so the scout for his first action we know is going to want to recon this Fog of War out of his deck. Then what is he going to want to do? It's this guy here. It's probably just roll for concealment. There's no other objective spaces that he needs to scout to. They've all been scouted to. So we're going to roll. On a 10, he's going to attack. Okay, so he's going to attack. It'd be the closest, and I said it earlier, but I think it was rifleman. So you have to, this is where the, what's the most threatening for the scenario? What does the bot consider the most threatening? And for this scenario, it says rifleman first and then scouts. So he's going to go after this rifleman, Rifleman A. Of course, he would. Now, the way it works when you're not in the same tile is it adds, the distance adds to the number you need to roll. So he's shooting for this guy. His defense is a 4. He gets 2 from being in this tile, so that's 6. He's 1 tile away, so that adds another one, so it's a 7. He's got to get a 7 or higher. And he rolled an 8. Okay, we do not have a Rifleman A in our hand. We do not have a Rifleman A in our discard pile. So we go into our deck. Look at all those Fog of Wars. And we have a Rifleman A in our deck that goes out of the game. And then we have to shuffle our deck. Now I think for sure we only have 1 Rifleman A card left. So our Rifleman A squad, or our Rifleman A is about to be off the board. And there's a cool thing, a little thing that they did with the cards is like, they're all kind of unique. See, like this Rifleman A, look at his picture. His name is James Allen, versus this Rifleman A card is Robert Denton. It's got different art. Here we've got Richard Johnson, different art, different name. They're all Rifleman A, but they're unique cards. All right, so we got shot by a stupid scout. Okay. Now his Rifleman A, what is he going to want to do? Control, it's already controlled. Tile is controlled and enemy occupied, that's no longer true. Is there a threatened objective tile around him? No, we're not trying to take one of his already controlled objectives away. Select an uncontrolled objective as your destination, it's within 1. Both of these are within 1. So then we look at the tiebreaker list. Not occupied by riflemen. They both are occupied by one of our riflemen. That one and that one. Then we look at the value. They're both value 1. Fewer enemies is the next tiebreaker. This one has 2 enemies. That one has 1 enemy. So he's going to move here. Oh, wait. Uncontrolled objective. Sorry, that one's controlled. I went through all that and I was completely wrong. This one's uncontrolled. Yep, I forgot that I had already controlled that one. So he would go towards the uncontrolled objective. That was his first turn. Now he gets another turn. And guess what? the first thing on here is control, flips it over, 2, 4, 5, and the game ends immediately once one of the sides has reached its objective, and that is a win for the AI bot, for the German player. He was getting a lot of extra not extra turns, but extra actions there, just kind of lined up for him with his squad leaders and who he had come out. Yep, so there you go. The other time that I played this one earlier today, I actually beat the AI, so that's good. You know, 1 for 1. I hope that wasn't too confusing. This is a great game. Like I said, it's a great game multiplayer, and once you get used to reading these AI cards, I think it's fun to play against the bot. You can choose which side you want to play as, so I think some of the scenarios are they're not designed to be, you know, you both starting with exactly the same stuff. You get different scenarios where, you know, I might have machine gun teams and the other side might have a mortar team or something like that. Or my goal might be to get objective points, but your goal might be to knock out a certain number of my pieces off the board, you know, things like that. So different kinds of objectives. All right, if you know the game, and if I screwed something up that I hadn't already caught, please leave it in the comments down below. I hope you enjoyed this solo playthrough of Undaunted Normandy. I hope you enjoy everything I put up on the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.